Hey guys, it's Phil here from the Next 72 Hours, coming to you today from my apartment in Wellington, and the video I'm going to do today is a little bit different to the ones I'd normally do, or Matthew and I would normally do, and I'll tell you why. So yesterday I was looking at Facebook, a page that I subscribe to, which is about homesteading and survivalism, and one of the articles yesterday was about how to make a candle out of things that you have around your house in a power outage or in a survival situation, with things that you'd have on hand as opposed to having to pop down to the shop and get something. And one of the ideas that struck me the most that I'm going to do today is using a simple piece of fruit. In this case it's a grapefruit that I had in the fruit bowl. I've cut this one in half. You can see it is actually a grapefruit, a real one. You can see the, whoops, there goes the juices on the screen there. Anyway, so it's a real grapefruit, and the other item is this cooking oil, or any sort of oil that you might have sitting around. In this case this is just everyday cheap salad and cooking oil, canola oil, and obviously a knife to cut up this piece of fruit. So what they're suggesting that you do is actually cut out all the flesh here, scoop it out, and then just leave the center ring here, and then fill this with oil and burn the center ring, the pithy ring here, and that will burn for quite a number of hours until that oil's all gone. So I thought I'd try that out. Not entirely sure if it will work, but what we'll do is we'll carve it up. I'll fast forward through that while I'm doing it. I'll just show you how I do it, but I'll speed it up, and then we'll see the final product and see if this actually does work like they say it will. So we'll move on to cutting it up now. Right, so that didn't take as long as I expected it would do to gut out there. You can see that the grapefruit is now empty. Here's the insides of that on this plate here, and like any good grapefruit, that's nice and bitter and sour. Quite tasty. I'm going to eat that all. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is swivel you around here. I'm going to put this grapefruit on the desk here to dry out a bit, because it's still got some juices and skin in it. I'm going to dry out the knife as well. I've given that a good wash down after cutting the grapefruit. It's quite acidic, and what we'll do is we'll come back in about 5-10 minutes once it's dried out a bit, and we'll test this theory out and see if it actually works. Alright, so finally back again here, and what you can see now, I've got two of these here. These are from the same grapefruit. This one here is the one that I have got the video on of me cutting out and pithing, and is the one that you saw earlier. This one here is the other half of it. It looks a little bit smaller, and that's because it's been sitting in the above the hot water cylinder in the cabinet there, drying out a little bit, to see if that'll make any difference. So you can see the insides of them look quite different. This one's still fresh on the right hand side here. This left hand side one's looking a bit old and crusty. So I'm going to want to see if that makes any difference, because while this came off the Facebook page, there's a lot of people saying that they did this and they couldn't get it to work and that it was rubbish. and I'm going to see here firstly if this dried one makes any difference to this fresh one. Obviously, because there's going to be a lot of moisture in here, it might have been that people had difficulty getting that to burn still being moist, and this one here sort of had time to dry out. It's quite, you can see that's nice and soft there, whereas this one here is quite hard and rigid. So what we've got here is some that canola oil you saw before, and I will fill up one bowl with that and fill up the other side here with that, and we'll light them up and see if they burn. In fact, we might have to move this away from the bedroom, because this is the only room in the house, well, that has a proper smoke alarm, and this will probably set it off. So I'll move this into the kitchen. It's going to be exactly as it looks like now, except away from the smoke alarms, because it's $1,200 bill for setting these off accidentally. So without further ado, we'll move and we'll try it out there where we've got an exhaust fan for the smoke, if there is any. Right, so we're back again with these two grapefruits here. You'll see the one on the right hand side, remembering that is the fresh one that we've just pitted and defruited, and the one on the left hand side is the one that has been dried in the hot water cabinet. See if that makes any difference. So I'm going to get us a bit of a flame going here. That really doesn't want to light, does it? So we'll move over to this one here. And there you can see the left one here that's been dried. We've managed to get a flame, and that's burning nicely. We might just clean this off and try and get that one here going as well. No, so that right one doesn't want to light, and maybe that's because it's fresh and it's still got a bit of moisture left in that wick there. We might just dip it in a bit of oil, see if that doesn't make any difference to getting that. Oh. Perhaps that might be the secret, just dipping in a bit of oil there, and maybe that'll dry out enough to keep ignited. We'll see if that flame grows any bigger. Alright, so that's taken about 1 minute and 50 seconds for that second one on the right there to get burning cleanly. Obviously that pith has dried out enough in the middle to allow it to burn and soak up that oil. So it is possible. It just took a lot longer than the dried out one to do. But pretty cool, cool and neat idea to use stuff that you've got around the house to have a candle in a power outage or disaster or situation like that. So what I might do is leave them to burn and just see how long they continue to go, and maybe come back a little bit, an hour or two if they last that long, and see if they're still burning nicely. Alright guys, so the sorry about this, but the lighting's pretty horrible in my apartment at the moment. Of the 10 lights above, only 2 are working in each part of each room, so we're down about 6 lights in this room. So anyway, it's I don't know if you can see this, but these candles have now been burning for 2 hours, 24 minutes and 38 seconds, so almost 2 hours 25. There was about a quarter of a cup of oil in each of these, so and now I would say that each one of them, the smaller one on the left there, is down by about 3/4 of a centimetre, so what, yeah, 7 or 8 mils down there, and the one on the right hand side is slightly a bigger one, so that's down about the same, maybe a little bit less. Which is pretty amazing. So what that says to me is, if I look at my fruit bowl over in the corner there, which I'll just give you, there is a fruit bowl there. I don't know if you can make it out, but I've got another orange and a lemon and a half a grapefruit there. So that means potentially I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more candles, and I've got at least a couple of bottles of oil down the bottom, because I quite often cook Korean food, and that sometimes involves frying and stuff. So I've got a lot of oil lying around here and a lot of fruit, and I mean, look at these things. They actually put out a lot of light comparatively for what they are. They're burning fairly cleanly from what I can tell. There's not much smoke coming off them. The aroma is quite nice to it. People did mention on the Facebook page that there was a bit of a fruit aroma, and then other people said there was more of an oil aroma, but no, they're actually putting off a fruity aroma, to be honest. Nothing huge. It's not like essential oils or anything, or aromatherapy, but there's definitely an aroma coming off them, which is quite nice, somewhat pleasant, and they're cheap in effect to make. So anyway, the battery's going flat on my camera at the moment, so I'm going to wrap it up here. It is possible. I think it's a great idea. A lot of people have got fruit lying around in their houses and oil, and if you've got those two things sitting around, you've got an emergency candle if need be. Well, of course, it's probably better to have candles available, because you know, this is time consuming, and you know, it's not ideal. But in saying that, I think these will probably burn longer than actual normal wax candles, so, and they're a lot less messy. So anyway, this has been the Next 72 Hours video there. Sorry about the end of this, the lighting and stuff for the end of this video, but I'm going to be looking at purchasing an LED light type setup for my camera for nighttime footage and stuff, so we'll see how that comes along. Got to speak to the financial controller first about that. Any questions or queries about this video, please leave them below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So thanks very much, and we'll catch you in the next vid. This is Phil signing out for Next 72 Hours.